Hello! Hello, my name is Cup Goodle. I'm a sentient cup of noodles, and tonight I'm going to be drawing some Dungeons & Dragons characters, which I've been doing for the last couple of drawing streams that I've had twice a week. And you can see I already have a character here. We're going to be working on that, and we're going to be starting another character who's a skeleton, and it's going to be very, very exciting to give a bit of explanation about what's going on tonight, and I'll probably repeat this again. I'm just doing a brief one right now. I asked Reddit and Twitter to give me character ideas for their characters, to describe their characters for me, and I picked out a bunch of random, and I'm going to be drawing them as prompts. And so this one is one of the characters, and I drew a dwarf sailor as well, and tonight I'm going to be finishing up this one. I think I just need to draw some hair on him. He's a shifter, and I'm going to be doing a skeleton after that. Okay, good. Now, before I get farther into that, I need to just get set up with headphones and stuff here. So, give me 1 second. I am organizing stuff. Woo! Dropped a thing. I'm organizing some stuff. You might hear me moving around a little bit, and that's perfectly okay. I'm going all the way over here. You guys can probably still hear me. I don't know where. You guys, I'm just collecting a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be using on stream. I should have been doing this during the now loading. I don't even know if you guys can hear me, but that's perfectly fine. I'm going to continue talking as if you can hear me. I should have been doing this during the now loading screen. The now loading screen is exactly when, I gather all my materials and do all that sort of stuff. Look up videos and make the announcements and things. But this time I just sort of started the stream. And so, don't worry if I sound quiet. I'm basically just moving so far away. You don't need to worry about turning up the volume or anything, because I'm coming right back. So, don't worry. Just gathering stuff. Oh, these headphones I got brand new. Fuzzy covers on them. It feels very good. Okay. Let's gather a thing here. Let's grab a thing here. I think we can come back towards the microphone as well. We can get back to our main. Hello, I'm back in my model. Back in my body, not having an out-of-body experience. Got headphones all plugged in. Got an ASMR video lined up. That's what I watch when I'm drawing sometimes. I either will listen to a little bit of music or I will get an ASMR video all set up. So let me go to this right here. Let me do ASMR. I could look for, I always want something that has sort of a good timing to it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, so that when that video ends, I know how long I've been drawing. It's helpful for me to keep that as sort of a timer, you know? A timer that doesn't feel like a timer that's just some of these are good, but these are kind of short. Some of these are like, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, but a lot of them look really good. I think maybe I'll go with this one. Has rain sounds. Goodnight Moon is a good ASMR artist that I really like. Looks like there's a new video, September 12th. That's kind of new video. It's about a week old. So let's hear what this sounds like. Rain bundling you up. Ooh, very rainy. Turn that down. It's a little too active. It's honestly, it sounds like real rain. That's a little bit too much right now. I want some background stuff, just some very, very light stuff. Let's go. What is this? Let's see the preview on this one. ASMR is, I absolutely love ASMR a whole lot. I want to start doing ASMR. And I think I'll be able to soon. I'm planning on getting myself one of the cheaper 3DOs, which, despite them not being worth the cost, like the parts, some people have seen the same sort of video of that ASMR artist, what is it, French ASMR or something he's talking about? He is a French ASMR artist. He broke down the cost of 3DOs and of, I think it was just of 3DOs of the different ones, the like $400 one, the $1,000 one, and showed that you could make your own ones for less than half the cost or about half the cost, that they really mark up the price. That being said, like, I could make it myself, but I have some gift cards to some electronics stores that will cover most of the cost of one anyway. And even if it was a different mic that was more cost efficient, I do really like the sound of the 3DOs, even just the cheap ones. Like, it is a little bit different. The higher quality ones do sound a bit different if you listen to them back to back. Like, yeah, there is a noticeable quality jump, not like a $1,600 quality jump. You know, it's not like a $1,600 quality jump. It's not worth that. For the really higher ones, unless you have seriously a lot of spending cash. But the cheap ones are still like, I still like the sound of it, even if it's like a $20 mic in like a $300 box that, isn't really worth it. Like, I still like the sound of it, so I'm probably gonna end up getting one. I like the look of it and I like the sound of it. So this one is 3 hours. I can't be watching it for 3 hours, but. And a lot of the good ones are the first ones. So I'm gonna put this on, but honestly, it's not gonna be useful as a timer anymore, because I am not gonna be drawing for 3 hours tonight. I don't want to be. I want to go to sleep. I've got a collab tomorrow. 11 a.m. Pacific time. I don't want to be staying up super late as usual this time. All right, let's see. So, to really get into what this piece that I'm working on is, let me read out the description of this character. So this character, who's the second character I've drawn of this little series, is named Cade. His name is Cade. It was created by a person named One Who Wanders on Reddit, and they submitted this character to be drawn. They gave an explanation. Name: Cade, C-A-D-E. Race: human ? Long tooth shifter. So they're a long tooth tooth shifters, like, generally human in appearance. Class, Beast Barbarian. Alignment, Chaotic Good, bordering on Chaotic Neutral. Gender, male, age 16. Body type, slim, average build, 5'3" tall, so he's kind of short. Features, he has youthful features with short, messy, dark brown hair. That's why I drew curly hair there. Green eyes with a yellowish hue, slightly elongated canines, and a light tan skin color. A thick layer of hair lines the back of his arms. His fingernails are thicker and darker, resembling animalistic claws. With the... I need to fix that hand on his right hand a little bit. With his fingers adjusting to fit. And let's draw the claws and not just have pointy fingers. His ears have a wolf-like point to them with a thin layer of fur coating the back. Gear, he wears a well-made, comfortable-looking shirt and a worn pair of loose-fitting cloth pants that are torn below the knees. So I took that as kind of like looser shirts, kind of pulled up. He has a small pack with a few provisions. I didn't draw that. In combat, he will primarily utilize his natural weapons as his body shifts to a more beast-like form as he rages. So, generally just a sort of a werewolf, kind of a half-werewolf boy. And, whoop, let's go. Smaller. Even smaller, I think it was going 5. Like that. So, we're going to finish up our drawing of this boy, which is mostly done at this point. I've drawn his feet with claws on it. I need to draw the same sort of long nails on his hands, and make sure this hand looks appropriate. I was looking at my own hand when drawing that, but the sizes or angles of the hand didn't come out quite natural looking, and this arm was giving me trouble here. But it looks very good upon first look, and only if you like really pay attention to this hand or lower, you're gonna be like, that's kind of a weird angle. I'm pointing it out, of course, right now, but this arm looks great, looks good. Even flipped, looks pretty good. It might be a little bit too long out this way, but it's not a serious issue. And his head looks good, like most cartoon drawings. I like most cartoony drawings, anime drawings, a person's head is not proportional to their body the way that human heads are. If you like size human heads, they're often way smaller than you assume that they are compared to a person's rest of the body. Especially if you are a tall person, you're just like, I never realized how small people's heads are. and a lot of people, when they draw heads bigger. I purposely draw heads a little bit bigger. I do like the look of it. It's easier to see facial expressions if the head is slightly bigger than average. It's easier to see features and stuff like that. And so even knowing that his head and most humans' heads should be actually smaller than I draw them, I still kind of choose to draw them a little bit bigger. Like very, very slightly bigger. Now luckily for us, Cade is 5'3", and so being like his head a little bit bigger could also be fairly appropriate if he's actually kind of short. Then he would actually just be very skinny. I probably should have drawn the legs and arms in a little bit different, what's the word I'm looking for? Proportions to match 5'3", but I had the pose in mind and was just going to draw it according to the pose either way. So I don't think I'm going to color this one. I think that this one would, maybe, but I think I'll just keep this one as a sketch like this. I really like just the look of the sketch. I really like just the look of the sketch and the lines and the hair and stuff. I'm going to clean up the back of the hair a little bit, like the underneath lines a little bit. But I just really like that look. And I don't think I'm going to color Cade. So let's draw some nails. Let's draw some fur on his legs, arms. Let's draw the claws. Let's clean up his face a little bit. Oh, and chest as well. A little bit hair on the chest. And then that will give me time, if I don't draw, to draw him with straight hair as well, because One Who Wanders on Reddit has provided me a few reference pictures to how they, and I think an artist friend as well, have drawn Cade with straight hair. And I'm the only one who's drawn him with curly hair. And so I figured I would draw both and see how both came out, and try to have a take at the straight hair as well. So let's start with the hands and claws. Let's draw some claws. We have our sort of claws like that are basically just longer nails. They're not quite, animalistic claws. They're basically just long, sharpened nails. Since I don't know how to draw like actual sort of sheathed animalistic claws, I'm not that good of a furry artist. And so I'm going to just sort of draw a bit longer nails. Oh. We gotta make sure, we gotta see what our layers are. So that one was just his hair. It looks like it was the underside of the hair too. Ah, darn, that's gonna be hard to clean up. I drew that on the same layer. That's the whole body. That's the face. All right, so we're whole body here. Let's put hair up top. Face under, and then body under that. There. Should be like that. That's not the right angle, but I think that's about the right length for it. It needs to start a bit farther back. I kind of like the look of these claws, but they are not the right position on the fingers. So maybe we just lasso this and move it back a little bit. Keep the same shape. This is essentially replacing. It doesn't quite look right. So this one, I don't just want to draw a nail on this. Just like that. I want it to be slightly above it or over it. But let's see, how would they actually look? A lot of nails, I'm thinking about like Wolfman movies, which, lucky for me, the Wolfman movies were just recently covered on Dead Meat. I love that channel on YouTube, the kill count. And they just like this week did Wolfman movies. And so I'm trying to think about how the claws look on that. A little bit more curved like that. Move there a little bit. No, not thin. It's not quite. I think I might just need to go with just like no visible nail on this, you know? Like no visible cuticle like that. And just kind of go with the sort of sharp look. That's probably the best. And have it curve inward rather than... Have it kind of curve inward rather than outward. Yeah, like that. I think I'll probably, yeah, that looks good without the cuticle, just as is, like that. You get the silhouette without the specifics. That's pretty good. I'll keep that. I think this finger might just need to be a little bit more inward. Give more of a side of the hand appearance. Good morning, Sprockets. I knew it was you. I didn't even see your name, but I just saw good morning, and I know who always says good morning. Yeah, that looks good with that number of fingers showing. Better than that. Yeah, that looks fine. So now let's continue with a few longer claws on this hand here. Slightly longer, maybe. Yeah, just a tiny bit longer. There, that's pretty good. I kind of like this little bump that some of the other fingers have had. Very much looks like an actual finger shape that ends in a super long nail and stuff. Now make it as triangular. I think it might need to be thinner in general. Just have that whole Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll keep it that way. We'll keep it as that. Connect this. And I'll do the same thing here. They're all going to be facing backwards a little bit. Perfect. I think those look claw-like. Now let's do some fur on the back of his arms, his chest, his shins. Let's give him a nice furry appearance. Now, an easy way to do this that I might end up doing is just some zigzag tornado shapes like that, but you kind of want to go sort of curved like that. Like, that's a simple way to just like draw some what people will interpret as arm hair. You know, something like that. But what I don't like is with this brush, it kind of being the same like opacity or weight as the rest, so maybe I'll do it a sort of thinner layer like that. Honestly, looks pretty good. I think that's a good enough little doodle look of it. Gotta get hairy hands as well. It isn't just the arms, it's got hairy hands as well. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's extend this hair a little bit to the side. There. Good, okay, okay. Do the same thing for chest like this. A little bit more here, a little bit more here. Looks pretty good. A little bit more up here. Thank you very much. Okay, and finally his shins. Honestly, I like the look of just this sort of kind of transparent. Just gotta let some of these lines shine through a little bit more. There we go. Okay, now I'm satisfied. All right, same thing with these legs. Have some hairy hobbit feet. I guess a little bit hairier and then less hairy on top here. And then much more hairy as you go down here. It looks too uniform. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit better. Should probably go, I mean, people got hairy toes, so it should probably go a little bit farther. Feels like it should extend a little bit farther this way. You know what? Actually, let's just hold on one sec. It's a bit like that. Pulled more towards the center. Yeah, I do kind of like that. All right, and let's erase the parts that are underneath the lines. And that's really the only one that's visible. All right, this one's gonna be more easily to tell that it's just on the top and side. Let's go. Let's make it a little bit more uneven. Should be a few strands here or there that go a little bit too far. Good. Much, much better. Alright. Alright. I think that's excellent. I can work on the hair now. Okay. And it's going to be very small. Honestly, yeah, that works. Just that mess of curly hair like that. Now you can't see the hairline, so that's good. I'm just gonna keep it as is. Just keep it like that. And I kind of like the lines on his nose. Those weren't intentional. Those were actually a byproduct of a previous sketch. But they kind of make it look a little bit animal-like. As if that's like a different color or something. So I honestly like it. We're not going to get to see his different canines. The drawing and pose that he did him at just it doesn't feel right to include that. So let's draw the background. And put this one, let's put this part over here. There we go, don't need that. Where's the background sketch? Basically just this bench, is that all I did for it? Looks like it. Alright, so we're just going to do just a bench for him to sit on to make this pose make sense. Alright, now we have an angle. I think we want to keep generally the same angle. It probably won't be the exact same angle, to be honest. But we can start cheating a little bit by duplicate layer, duplicate layer, duplicate layer. Moving these around. That's just a cushion kind of thing. See if I control. Nah, it doesn't work. Honestly, that works well. Let's do this one. That's good. And I think this layer needs to be tilted a little bit as well. think maybe that little extra bit. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, and we need one more. To move up behind him. That will be the shelf that he is eating on. I think that looks good. I think that looks fine. I think it's going to be good if I now delete these parts that we don't need. And just do that for each layer down as we go. This one is basically, it would be a little bit visible. Find a sleeve. This part can be deleted. This part can be deleted. All of this that doesn't appear past a sleeve can be deleted. This is the line, I think, is right there. It goes right to there, and this one is here to here, and there to there. Those two need to be lifted up or raised up, put down a little bit. Ooh, this can affect some of the lines. Alright, so it's just that layer. It's not any of the other ones. Is that low enough? I think it might need to be even lower. In which case I'll need to redraw those lines. He's short though, he shouldn't be able to do this. But the pose is more important than realistic heights. Yeah, that's a bit better. Alright, let me take, I can't really group. Unless I flatten an image. I might, in the end, still do it. Alright, yeah, let's reduce the size of his arm slightly. We're going to need to flatten, merge down with the merge layer below in order to get them both. So no more messing with the body hair. I think that looks much better as is. you can kind of see between these two images that even though this arm is at a different angle, sort of a backwards angle, this hand is now a little bit more correctly sized for his body rather than this bigger one. The bigger one kind of looks like big old like monkey crab claw, like a long monkey arm, or like a big giant crab claw where they have one bigger claw. This one's a bit closer, it looks a little bit more natural. So we do that. Now we need to redraw these lines. I could do another line and maybe just match it really perfectly. That looks pretty good, actually. I'll do that with this one as well. A little bit less good. There we go. Okay, now I can delete these instead. Oops. Ah, fuck, I did this on the wrong layer. Damn. Line tool again. This is going to be a little too high on that left side. A little too low on the left side now. Or maybe it's okay. So it is a little bit too low, but I don't think it's noticeable. So we'll keep that. Okay, those both look good. Excellent. That looks like a good angle. My mind is very awake, but my eyes are a little tired. I gotta close them for a sec. Rest them for a sec. Let's Control Z or Control S. That I think is what we're going to keep as our. I kind of want to draw a little bit on the bench. I don't want to have it just sort of a plain lines. I kind of want to maybe draw like some wood grain on it. We only need from right here to right there. We can cut it off. Getting some wood lines. But yeah, first time drawing like wood lines and nuts. That might be a good experiment. I want to limit this drawing to about 1 hour if possible. And that doesn't include the intro to the stream and like, 10 minutes of setup and stuff. So if I go like another half an hour and it's 15 minutes past the hour, like that's still fun. But I generally want to keep it to only be working on this drawing for about the first hour. For about 1 hour total, and then I want to move on to another character. Give me 1 second. I'm going to be snacking on. I need a little bit of energy, I think, for my eyes. So I'm going to be snacking on a pretzel here or there. Pretzels. If it seems like I'm always snacking on pretzels, it's because I fucking am. It's because they are my go-to snack. Pretzels are great. If you don't need to worry about salt, which they don't have an excessive amount of, but they do certainly have some. But if you don't need to worry about it, pretzels are like super low fat, no sugar. And they're fairly good for curbing some appetites. I always go to them for like a healthy, like a non-unhealthy snack. They're just kind of empty calories, which are good, and they're tasty. Crispity crunchy too. I go for the pretzel rods, big old rods pretzels. So I can, if I want to, I can dip in some peanut butter. Tastes great. Still got my ASMR video going on. Oh. Ah. Collab stuff coming through. Oh yeah, pin that message. All of ours are pinned, are in the pinned messages at the top of the window. Okay, one more little one, I guess. Oh, I think I was wrong though. It does not really look like wood grain. Wood grain is hard to draw because I know it's like mostly straight wiggly lines, but there's like occasionally some knots here or there. And the lines like generally follow like the curvature of the knots until they go down straight. Do I just need to do it super thin? That's fucking annoying. Honestly, it doesn't look super awful. I'm pretty sure when I delete it, where is that? There it is. Look, something along the lines of that, and that isn't terrible. All right, let's do the same thing over here. Do a few thinner lines, a few thicker lines, a few thinner, a few thicker. We don't really need. And then where there's a kind of bigger space or maybe a round area, I'm gonna draw a little bit of sort of a knot coming down here, a few lines coming around it. There we go, and now these lines continuing here. Let's erase these first. That was too squiggly. Maybe like this. Maybe. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just do the same thing for the area down here. It's gotta follow the perspective, so. Needs to be even more curved to the side, angle to the side. I think that works. There we go. Hi, Raph. Hiya, how you doing? I've been missing you. How you been? I'm drawing a shifter. I'm drawing a werewolfy D&D boy. Look at this boy. Look at his claws and his leg hair and his wolf ears. He's a D&D shifter, long tooth shifter. This is for some people on Reddit who requested, or who I offered to do some art for. Let's erase that one, that one. Just have that looks fine. And now we just need to do a little bit more here. Not that curved, right here, there we go. I think that should look okay in the perspective. Not quite. More like that. Yeah, but still a little bit more. Hot boy shifter, I like it. Yeah, hot boy shifter. It's like Hot Girl Summer, but it's Hot Boy Shifter. I think that will be okay. And draw a knot in here. And finally we have our lines like that. This isn't working as well on this bottom one. This is the first time I've ever drawn wood grain, and I'm hoping that it just deceives people into thinking that they're looking at wood grain. I think it will. I think it will generally deceive people. That's what art is all about. It's about deceiving the audiences into seeing what you want them to see. It's not about actually drawing it. It's about drawing something that most people would assume is it. That one looks a little bit too messy. Like this, and maybe like that, and like this, and like that. And we don't want another one down here. Just like this, like that. And the other one. Much better. All right, let's delete this part. And then once we're deleted, I think we're done with this. We can work on Skellington. Okay, good. Yeah, that looks kind of like wood grain. I'm not going to draw shadows or anything. I'm not going to draw extra details besides this. Make his hand a little bit more visible. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. All right. That is Cade. That is our drawing of Cade. And that is as far as I go. Is he single? I don't know. He's 16, ref. So is it worth it? Oop, never mind. Gotta eat, yeet. So, admittedly, I did draw him hot, so it's very forgivable, and he does look like an adult, because I didn't draw him very teenage-like, or you. So that is a reasonable assumption to assume that I'm drawing an adult here. Let's see, is there... I think I should just keep the opacity up for this and just keep the wood grain like that. And I'll just keep it as is without any sort of shadows or anything. So, once again, I will read the description of Cade here. Technically, shifters have a shorter lifespan. Yeah, great, good justification, Raph. I mean, with fantasy role-playing stuff and different lifespans, everything is basically problematic unless you're with your own species abiding by our worldly laws on stuff. Like, as soon as you marry an elf, is them being like 30 years old, like, you know, an adult enough for them, or is that like baby in elf? And so it's and like a lizard folk or an aarakocra or anything like that, yeah, that have like a shorter lifespan, say they mature after like a couple years. So like, oh, I'm 3 years old. I'm like, cool, you're an adult. Everything basically becomes problematic and questionable. So it's best just not to kind of worry about that. If you're playing like a human character though, then people will expect you to abide by our, like, you know, worldly laws and worldly assumptions on stuff. So you should generally abide by, like, you know, 18 years old kind of thing. That's what most people are going to be expecting. As soon as you get to other races, fantasy races, it all just kind of breaks down at that point. I'm pretty sure no one really, like, people are willing to hear like other races lifespans being used as arguments to a certain extent. They're definitely not willing to hear like it was medieval times, like people got married that young kind of thing, because we don't want to go back there. Like, we want fantasy races, but we don't want to go back to that time when that was the case. But human shifter-ish. I'll read the description of Cade here one more time. I read it at the beginning. I'll read it again right now. So, by one who wanders on Reddit. Name, Cade, C-A-D-E. Race, human, ? And that was crossed out and it says long-tooth shifter. It's because, you know, shifter is the race in D&D, but like potentially human person who maybe has a little bit of wolf blood in him, or, you know, werewolf blood in him, something like that. Class, beast barbarian. Alignment, chaotic good, bordering on chaotic neutral. Gender, male, age 16. Body type, slim, average build, 5 foot 3 inches tall. So he's probably shorter in real life than I drew him here. Features, he has youthful features with short, messy, dark brown hair. Green eyes with a yellowish hue. Slightly elongated canines, which you can't see here. And a light tan skin color. Right now, we can't see his canines or anything like that. And a light tan skin color. I'm not going to be coloring this individual picture. A thick layer of hair lines the back of his arms. His fingernails are thicker and darker, resembling animalistic claws. With his fingers adjusting to fit, his ears have a wolf-like point to them. With a thin layer of fur coating the back. We don't really get to see the back. Gear, he has a well-made, comfortable-looking shirt. And a worn pair of loose-fitting cloth pants that are torn below the knees. He has a small pack with a few provisions, which I did not draw. In combat, he will primarily utilize his natural weapons as his body shifts into a more beast-like form as he rages as a barbarian. So that is what we're going to be drawing him as. Oh, also, actually, I completely forgot. I only wanted to draw him for the first hour, and I finished it right on time, but I forgot I was going to draw a straight-haired version for One Who Wanders, because One Who Wanders provided me with a lot of reference material. Now, every other... Like, the whole point of this exercise for me is I don't want to see people's references, you know? I wanted people just to give a description, and then based on how I imagine that character to try and draw it. I find that very interesting and fun of an experiment. And so I definitely did not want to look at any references beforehand. After my first stream drawing Cade and sort of setting out this like curly hair and this pose kind of thing, then One Who Wanders gave me a few other references, and so I was willing to look at that and go like, okay, these all have straight hair, I'll draw an extra version. But I definitely want to go in blind, so to speak, with a lot of other things. So let me go to Reddit here. And let me look up some of these references. I'll try to be inspired by them, not directly copy them, but be inspired by them. So sort of messy, straight, short hair. Interpret it as that. Okay, I see. So, let's try and have some messy, short, straight hair. Now, what would messy, short, straight hair look like? We got head like that. Beautiful bald head. You're perfect just the way you are. Do not grow hair. And now short hair. It would hang down from gravity. Even if you tried to sweep it to the side like this, a little bit would hang down. And some anime bangs sticking out. Ooh, honestly, that's pretty good as is. Do I want that or do I want that? I think that is probably better. Looks very... Something about it is good and something about it is not good. I need to figure out which one is which things are which. That I feel like is good. That I feel like is not. And that I feel like it's not. So it's the right part of his head. I think maybe because it also didn't follow gravity. It's very weird. do something besides just straight down strands. Because there's these strands here. Maybe a few big arcs like that would work. I can't cover up his pupils though. I want this angle to match. It's a very good anime hair angle. The strands need to be redrawn a little bit, but I like that they hang down. Ah, that's pretty good. Maybe just a little strand like this. Honestly, no, that's fine. That's fine as is. He's a respectable young man. That's what I felt like the difference was. I felt like now maybe this just says something about how we treat straight hair versus curly hair, which that's worth examining. But it felt like he looked very non-threatening with straight hair in some of the pictures that I looked at, and slightly threatening with the looser, curlier hair. But the threatening also makes him hotter. Like, it's also way hotter with the curly hair, which was not how he was described. Like, he wasn't described in terms of hotness. That was just kind of how I decided to draw him. And so it's not necessarily better or worse for the character. D&D characters are generally hot or silly. And sometimes the funnest ones are the ones where, why not both? And it's because if you're gonna make a character, you either want to be and like you can be anything you want. You either want people to think you're funny or you want people to think you're hot. Just like a video game character. You're either gonna do a character creation as a joke or to make them cute. Let's see, Raph. Whenever I make a new character or NPC, I ask myself, which actor would play them? Ah, interesting. That's a good way of kind of deciding their vibe. All right. we've got this version and that version. Definitely the more threatening, it's more sexy version. And that version. So this one, I think also part of it is I can't, since I'm not coloring, this one says he has dark brown hair, and since I'm not coloring it, it just looks like light hair because I don't have any lines on it. And so the picture itself makes it look more blonde, which also just makes us think of like younger kids who are like a little bit more innocent. Like blonde kids definitely feels very young, juvenile to me. Which is all, I feel like, just ingrained biases that society has taught me or us about different hair types. Like which hair types are shown on which types of characters or which type of archetypes specifically, and which ones aren't. And so naturally have those ingrained assumptions about them. But we're done with these. We've got our two characters there, or our two versions of the character this. And now we're going to start. I want to draw for at least another 40 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer than that. At least another like 30, 40 minutes. We're going to start on a skelly man. So this one was, I think it was nitrous oxide. Is that what I think was one of the first ones here? Yes, by Reddit user nitrous oxide with a 7 instead of a T and some zeros in there. They described their character as such. Unnamed character, but they just said a revenant, so like an undead soldier. Oath of Ancients paladin. He appears to be a skeleton held together by vines and other plants, wearing the remains of armor that has mostly rusted away. He wields a shield and a spear, both of modest make, with the shield having a triskelion with each arm terminating in a flower. Triskelion, I believe the Celtic symbol, but I will look it up just to make sure that I'm thinking of the right thing, and it's not something else. With each arm terminating in a flower. He is of friendly demeanor and only wishes to spread joy despite his somewhat spooky appearance. Now here's the thing. He wishes to bring joy. He looks like a skeleton held together by vines, so I'm gonna give him a spooky appearance because I fucking love spooky appearances. I actually want to draw 2 pictures, but I might only get to one. What I want to draw is one of the skeleton with sort of an open jaw. Like kind of look, or he's kind of looking up. Maybe down like this, and you can see part of the jaw there. It would be a little bit farther back like this. And there'd be like his nose a little bit smaller, a little bit lower like that. And eye holes. Like that. Where he's kind of teeth down like this. And just a hole there. Where he's kind of leaning up like that, and you can see, and he's got some chainmail coming down, sort of like Knight of the Round Table style. It's got like a chainmail hood. And you can see like the vines, like, you know, like creeping and crawling. Like over and around. Like all over, with like a flower inside of his skull. You can just see like a flowering plant like in there. And like flowers all around like the interior as well. But like it looks super creepy. And sort of that angle. So I'm gonna need to probably be looking up references for skulls to make sure that the I get all the various lines and stuff right. Because it's definitely more sunken than this. And then like drawing some flowers in there. So I want one where it's like that and his... You really only see from like this side up. Where it's sort of a bust or like a headshot. And then another one where maybe it's full body and you see the whole skeleton. Who do you think would play this Revenant in a movie? Benedict Cumberbatch? He seems kind of skeletal on his face, maybe. Hugo Weaving, he played the Red Skull. He's sort of got a skeletal face. He's good-natured, friendly demeanor. Neither of them really play a lot of friendly demeanor people. They generally play kind of a tough or like asshole-ish people. So let's see who else has a skeletal face to them. Honestly, Keanu Reeves kind of has like the cheekbones going on. With tall, like sort of sunken face. He could probably play the skeleton pretty dang well. And he's got the friendly demeanor. I think I gotta go Keanu Reeves. Liam Neeson I wouldn't really describe as skeletal. As far as I know, he also doesn't have a friendly demeanor. He's got a kind of a badass demeanor. Your answer's wrong, Raph. It's wrong and you should feel bad. While I snack on a pretzel. You can snack on your own pretzel. Well, that's good to hear. That he's good at acting kind. That seems more protective and intimate rather than friendly demeanor and only wishes to spread joy. Because in the Taken movies, he does not only wish to spread joy. Oh boy. Seems like this guy would be more of a, like, why do we have to fight kind of guy, as opposed to, I'm going to murder all of you and get my daughter back kind of thing. Adam Sandler, then fine. Maybe. Can you imagine this skeleton going, ooh, hee hee hee, and making lots of noises and voices and stuff. What would you name this skeleton, Raph? Because I didn't ask Nitrous Oxide what the character's name was. So you can invent one and we'll pretend that that's it. Chattlesworth. That's pretty good. What do you think, Sprockets, if you're still here? You got a name for skeleton revenant soldier who just wants to spread joy? We're taking all submissions. Now think about it, I wanted to draw like a brochure for our D&D campaign to help people understand what the heck has been going on better. I could do that on these drawing streams. Find pictures of stuff and make a little... Alright, so here's the people. Here's how we fucked them over. Does it have to be a skeleton-based pun? No, but you get extra points for it. Now, it's not my character, in which case, if it was my character, it would have to be a pun required. It would require to be a pun. This is someone else's character, so you get to be more dramatic if you wanted to. One thing that definitely I enjoy about D&D characters when people make them is sometimes a lot of people will make pretty cliche characters. That's pretty common. Like, you know, they're cliches because they get repeated so often. Everyone kind of like forgot how to rethink it. Okay. You win. You win, Raph. Keanu Revenant it is. This Revenant is named Keanu. Last name Revenant. Very, very good. Very, very good. Just can't... I approve greatly. Oh god, that's really fucking funny. Alright, Keanu. Let me save that as is. I'm not gonna name it Keanu, but we will know in our hearts. This is Skeleton Vine Rev. How do you spell it? And Nant. Skeleton Vine Revenant. Good. What I was saying before that excellent answer, for that very good response, was that a lot of people, for their character descriptions or what they come up with, is very cliche and very, very, like, you know, you could say not creative, or at least not unique, original, because that's what cliche is. It's something that is constantly repeated over and over, sort of people's first idea of what a thing is. And that's perfectly fine. A lot of people do like playing according to type, and they like the tropes and things that already exist, and go like, well, I fucking love Tolkien. I want to play a Tolkien character, so of course I'm going to make my character like a Tolkien, or a Game of Thrones, or something like that. But despite that, despite a lot of people's characters, some characters being more silly and more unique, some characters being more traditional, more cliche, even the cliche characters tend to have interesting names. Like, they're not all jokes, they're not all puns, but like, everyone gives their character an interesting name, or a weird name, or a unique name. I'm not sure if I've come across a whole lot of cliche names, where I see a name, I'm just like, well, like, come on, think of something original, why don't you? Like, names are usually pretty unique, even if they're just like, not actually names, or just kind of weird. Like, weird is good, weird is unique. Like, I think in some of my campaigns, like I think there was like a character that shared the name with another character in a different campaign, where like, oh, there was these two characters in two different campaigns and they shared a name, and it wasn't even like there is maybe one cliche name, and it was the name that was shared by multiple people, which was Phineas. Phineas was a name of a character in one of my campaigns, and before I met that person, might have been before, might have been after, I had also named a character Phineas, spelled differently, and I've seen or heard at least like 2 other characters who are unrelated to either of those games also named Phineas, usually for like wizards, either like gnome or human, something like that, and it just sort of feels like a fantastical, sort of halflingish, gnomish, humanish, kind of like happy-go-lucky name like that. And so at this point, Phineas has kind of become cliche to me, the name Phineas. And I don't think it's like a super common name. I don't think most people will think of it, but somehow it's just popped up a whole lot. And so no matter what the character is, and like this, like a revenant skeleton held together by vines, I think that's super cool. I think that's super unique. I don't see a whole lot of vine skeletons. Vine skeletons is especially a paladin vine skeleton, and it's not like a druid vine skeleton or anything like that. It's a paladin. It's still a warrior with armor, like rusted armor, but you still have the vines in there. It's in Oath of Ancients paladin. I think that's a unique mix of stuff that I'm excited to like draw this more. But yeah, like, and Keanu, naming him Keanu is funny. Everyone only knows one Keanu. It's not like Chris, where you probably know a bunch of famous Chris's and a bunch of like regular ass Chris's in your life. It's just Keanu, and like most people in the world only know of one person named Keanu. It's not even like a name that was meant for him. Like, people are named Keanu, but like most people in the world have only know of one. And so if I name a D&D character Keanu, you know exactly which person I was thinking of, and I know exactly which person you were thinking of, and so there's no hiding what the inspiration was. If I name him Chris, then you could hide the inspiration. If I name him Keanu, then that's kind of a dead giveaway. Still, I want people to ask, why did you name him Keanu? And I said, well, my friend asked who would play him, and I said Keanu Reeves. And so he's named Keanu. And then they'd be like, you know what? That's fair. All right. I've been talking for so long that I only really want to spend like the next 20 minutes on this or so. So let's start with this image. Let's just keep that off for now. Let's find a reference for human skulls, and let's try and find a reference to draw from that matches sort of the angle that we want. Human skull. The cheekbones. The cheekbones are what I forgot. There's like nothing below the cheeks. There's like, the jaw is like a T shape. Any of these, that's a pretty good angle for what I want. And is there one with the mouth open? Let's see. Now, the one thing I'm going to need to lie about is that human skulls in their eye sockets, the eye sockets do not actually have really big holes into the inside of the skull in them. They only have tiny, small holes that, like, the eyeballs, like the veins and cables, you might call them, connecting them, like, poke through. Most of the eye socket, the back of it, is just bone. I'm going to have to hollow out those eye sockets so that you can see some of the stuff in between. We're going to lie about anatomy. Oh no. How dare we? Ooh, that's pretty close to the picture I want. Let's copy this. Let's see if this looks good flipped. They could have gotten chipped. They could have gotten chipped. Maybe we just have holes chipped away in the skeleton. So, look at this image. And if I want to flip it, shift. That's right, this one. There we go. That's pretty close. This angle or this angle. And it does make a difference. I'm thinking about his spine and stuff afterwards. I do want to draw in a little bit more front-wise. This one is close to the ground. It's not at an upward, it's not at a totally upward angle. But this will help us. I wonder what the skull reference's real name is. Maybe it says. No, it's just a... Ooh, but that's a pretty good... Ooh, this page actually has a lot of good references for this skull. Keep that there. Check out some of these other... Oops. Images we can use for like the upward angle. We can kind of use these to figure out how stuff looks. This would help with like the jaw and the teeth. And then there was another one. This one, I think. Which is all the same skull. Just from slightly different angles. And that one is the correct angle, the correct direction as well. So with these powers combined, we can form our human skull. We can see sort of the angles and the dimensions and stuff. You can see that there's like nothing underneath the cheekbones. That the cheekbones just kind of, the top jaw forms like a T shape or like a Y shape. So it would just be like up like that, with the front teeth being here. And the nose is very large nose hole like that kind of protrudes slightly. Big sunken cavities, sort of square shaped sunken cavities and a brow above. And you can see that there aren't really holes. There's small holes in the back, but most of the interior is bone in the eye. It's just those tiny little holes that where the things appear, but we're going to hollow those out. And I'm not sure what happened inside the jaw here, because those definitely not normally bones in there. My guess is that this is probably an actual fossilized remain of something, and that is whatever organic material got fossilized along with the bone. Because that is very, very odd growths and stuff in there. That ain't normally there. Honestly, I kind of want to mostly this angle here, but with just a little bit of that jaw difference that these things bring. Okay. We want to draw here, put this above. Let's at least just get a sketch line, a sketch layer, and then since I'm kind of getting tired, I will call it a night after that. Go 69 opacity. All right. Let's go brush smoothing on this. Let's put up that smoothing to like 277. There, it's okay if that's kind of flat. Ah, shit, same layer. Make sure we follow the curves here. And that brow, good. And then sort of a straight bone like this. And let's exaggerate the cheekbone a little bit. Like that. That looks good. There, and sort of follow along here. This jaw goes like that. those weird angles down like that. I want to get a lot of these lines that you see on a lot of skulls, sort of these wiggly lines I'll need to do. Turn off stabilization for that. That's where the brow generally is, like that. Like that. And there's something in there. Nose has got a sync sort of a look like that. It's not quite how that looks. Excellent, and there's that there. That there. That like that. Like there. got all the teeth. I do want to draw teeth in this skeleton, so I'm probably going to need to add in top teeth. I might need to look up another reference just for the top teeth, since this skeleton does not have top teeth. There? No idea what the fuck all this stuff in the back is. Why are there a bunch of these holes in there? It's certainly gonna freak some people out. Okay, look, we got a human skull, a few extra lines that are not really needed, mostly around that, but it can show us where stuff is. I feel like there's something here I need to draw. Right now, in this, it's just part of it's looking up at it, so it's just appears to be part of the thing. Maybe we can just fudge a connection like that. I have a feeling without these, whatever these are back here, this part right there, it would probably go a bit like that, and there would not be anything right there. It would be something like that. Yeah, this with this line looks way better than that with that line. And now I wanted to do these lines on the side of the skull that are very recognizable as skull lines. Good. Okay. That's the end. Oh, I'm tired. I need to go get some food and go to bed. I gotta wake up for a collab. For a collab stream. Tomorrow. I'm tired. I just lost all my energy. I think I'm still recovering from booster shot. Let's draw nose ridge like this. There we go. Alright, save this. We have not done anything super extra on this, but we at least got a little bit started. Our shifter we have here, and with straight hair there. So 2 different versions. Take your pick. And that is our drawings for tonight. Thank you, Raph. Thank you, Sprockets, for coming by. I'm not going to dilly-dally much longer. I'm just going to end right here so that I can go make myself some food and go to sleep. I have a collab tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So it's just in about 8 hours from now. And we're going to be hopefully playing Jackbox with some of my Gardic phone friends who I had a collab earlier with for a couple of weeks ago. And if the games work correctly and we're able to stream it correctly, then excellent. And if not, then we'll just do something else real quick. We'll just pick something else, or we'll just chat. Honestly, we could probably sustain a pretty long stream just chatting, just on us. But we'll determine that tomorrow. Have a good night. Have a good night, and if you're watching the stream later on, I hope you have a good night too. Bye-bye.